There comes a time in your life when you must make a decision to keep explaining yourself to people who will never understand your vision, or to turn inward and focus on what truly matters. Growth is quiet. Success is silent. And elevation is often a lonely road. See, we live in a world that constantly tells us to share our journey, to seek validation, to prove ourselves. But let me tell you something, your purpose doesn't require an audience. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs happen when no one is watching. You don't need to post every move you make. You don't need to explain why you're working late nights or choosing discipline over distractions. You don't need to justify why you're outgrowing certain conversations, relationships, and environments. Just do the work. Because here's the truth, the loudest person in the room is often the weakest. People who are truly focused on their purpose don't have time to engage in unnecessary battles. They don't have time to clap back, prove a point, or explain their journey to people who were never meant to walk with them. Silence is a weapon. It confuses the enemy. It forces people to wonder what you're up to, and by the time they realize, you've already elevated beyond their reach. So I challenge you today, stop talking about it and start being about it. Let your results be the response. Let your success do the speaking. Let your peace be your proof. Because when you're truly locked in, the noise around you no longer matters. And when the time is right, the world will see exactly what God was doing in the silence. Until then, focus on yourself, stay silent, and watch how everything shifts. That not every step in your journey needs an audience. In fact, the most powerful growth often happens in the quiet, unseen spaces of life. The world has trained us to believe that progress must always be shared, that every achievement, every lesson, and every breakthrough must be broadcasted for validation. But what if the real transformation is meant to be private? What if the greatest shifts in your life happen behind closed doors, in the moments when no one is watching? Growth isn't always glamorous. It's not always something you can capture in a social media post or sum up in a catchy quote. Sometimes growth looks like crying yourself to sleep and waking up determined to try again. Sometimes it's the silent prayers you whisper when no one else is around, asking for strength to keep moving forward. Growth happens in the decisions you make when nobody is there to applaud you. It happens in the late night studying, the early morning workouts, the moments when you choose discipline over distraction. It happens when you resist the urge to prove yourself and instead focus on becoming the person you were meant to be. But the problem is, we live in a world that glorifies exposure. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants their journey to be acknowledged. We want people to know how hard we're working, how much we're changing, how different we are from who we used to be. And because of that, we sometimes put more energy into seeking recognition than we do into the actual process of growth. We want people to clap for us while we're still in the middle of becoming. But real growth isn't about applause, it's about alignment. It's about aligning yourself with your purpose, with your future, with the version of you that you are working so hard to become. And alignment doesn't require an audience. It requires focus. It requires patience. It requires you to sit with yourself and ask, am I growing for me or am I growing for them? Because if you're only growing for the approval of others, then what happens when the applause stops? What happens when the people you were trying to impress move on? If your growth is rooted in validation, then it is not real growth, it's just performance. Some of the greatest transformations happen in silence. Think about a seed buried deep in the ground. No one sees the moment it begins to break open. No one watches as its roots push through soil. But just because no one sees it doesn't mean it's not growing. In fact, its growth is necessary before it can ever rise above the surface. The same is true for you. There are things being developed in you right now that no one else can see. And that's okay. Some seasons of your life are meant to be underground seasons where you grow in silence, where you develop in private, where you allow yourself to strengthen before the world even knows what's happening. This is why you can't rush to share everything. Some things need time to develop before they can be revealed. When you focus too much on making your growth visible, you run the risk of exposing something that isn't ready yet. Imagine taking a cake out of the oven before it's fully baked, just so you can show people how good it looks. It might seem ready on the outside, but the inside is still raw. That's what happens when you rush your process for the sake of being seen. You might look like you've made it, but inside there's still work to be done. So stop seeking an audience for your growth. Stop looking for validation where it isn't necessary. Some of the best work you will ever do will happen in solitude. Some of the most powerful changes will take place when no one else is around to witness them. And that's a good thing, because when the time is right, your growth will speak for itself. You won't have to prove anything. You won't have to convince anyone that you've changed. The evidence will be in how you move, how you speak, how you carry yourself. The people who once doubted you won't need an explanation. They will see it in the way you operate. So embrace the quiet seasons. Embrace the moments when it feels like no one notices your progress, because those are the moments that shape you. Those are the moments that prepare you for the life you've been working towards. And when the time comes for you to step into that next level, you won't need to announce it. The world will know. Your growth will be undeniable. Until then, keep growing, keep evolving, and trust that every unseen step is leading you exactly where you're meant to be. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it is the presence of power. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your energy is one of your most valuable resources. Where you direct it, who you give it to, and how you protect it will determine the quality of your life. Too often we exhaust ourselves trying to explain, defend, or prove something to people who were never meant to understand us. We drain ourselves engaging in conversations that do nothing but deplete our peace. But when you learn to embrace silence, you reclaim your energy. You take back the strength that was being scattered in 1,000 directions and use it to fuel your growth. Not every comment requires a response. Not every attack needs a rebuttal. Not every misunderstanding is yours to fix. There is a certain freedom that comes when you no longer feel the need to be understood by everyone. Because let's be honest, some people aren't listening to understand, they're listening to respond. They don't want clarity, they want control. And the more you engage, the more you give them access to your energy. You waste precious time trying to convince people of your worth, your growth, your intentions, when the truth is, your purpose was never up for debate. Think about how much lighter your life would be if you stopped explaining yourself. If you stopped justifying your decisions. If you stopped defending your character to people who have already made up their minds about you. Silence is your protection. It is your boundary. It is the space where you gather yourself instead of giving yourself away. Some battles are won not by fighting, but by refusing to participate. When you withhold your response, when you walk away from the noise, when you choose not to engage in unnecessary drama, you are not being weak, you are being wise. There is strength in being selective about where your energy goes. Have you ever noticed how much peace you have when you stop responding to negativity? When you stop entertaining pointless arguments? When you stop trying to change people who are committed to misunderstanding you? That peace is priceless. And the more you protect it, the stronger you become. Because silence doesn't just conserve your energy, it magnifies your focus. It allows you to redirect your strength toward what actually matters. When you're constantly engaged in external battles, you neglect the internal work. You become so distracted by what others are saying, doing, and thinking that you lose sight of your own progress. But when you step back, when you choose silence over reaction, you give yourself the space to grow. You allow yourself to pour into what truly deserves your energy, your healing, your purpose, your elevation. It's not about avoiding difficult conversations or running from challenges. It's about being intentional with your responses. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? Is this conversation moving me forward or holding me back? Am I responding because I want to or because I feel pressured to prove something? Many times, the best answer is silence. Many times, the most powerful move is to say nothing at all. Silence confuses the people who expect you to react. It frustrates those who thrive on drama. It shifts the power dynamic, because when you refuse to engage, you show them that their words have no control over you. You show them that your peace is more important than their opinion. You show them that your focus is unshakable. But silence is not just about the words you don't say, it's about the spaces you choose to occupy. It's about stepping away from environments that drain you. It's about distancing yourself from people who constantly bring negativity into your life. It's about realizing that not every invitation requires your presence. There is so much power in walking away from anything that does not align with your growth. So if you find yourself constantly exhausted, constantly drained, constantly feeling like your energy is being pulled in every direction, ask yourself, where am I giving too much of myself away? And more importantly, where do I need to be silent? Because when you master the art of silence, you master the art of energy preservation. And when you protect your energy, you protect your peace, your purpose, and your power. There comes a point in your journey where you realize that not everyone can go where you're going. Elevation requires isolation. Growth demands separation. And if you truly want to step into the fullness of who you were created to be, you have to be willing to walk alone for a season. It's not easy. We are wired for connection, for companionship, for shared experiences. But the higher you go, the thinner the air gets. Not everyone can breathe at the level you're reaching for. Some people were meant to walk with you for a while, but not forever. Some friendships were only designed for a season, not a lifetime. And some relationships will hold you back if you refuse to release them. The hardest part about elevation isn't the climb, it's the letting go. It's realizing that the very things and people that once felt comfortable, once felt familiar, are no longer aligned with where you're headed. It's understanding that the version of you that fit in before is not the version of you that will thrive in your next season. Growth is not just about adding more to your life, it's about subtracting what no longer serves you. When you are in a season of elevation, you will feel the weight of separation. You will find yourself spending more time alone, more time reflecting, more time working on yourself. You will notice that certain conversations no longer interest you, certain environments feel suffocating, and certain habits no longer align with who you are becoming. It will feel uncomfortable, even lonely at times, but that loneliness is where transformation happens. There is something sacred about isolation. It strips away distractions and forces you to sit with yourself. It forces you to confront the things you've been avoiding. When you are constantly surrounded by noise, people's opinions, outside expectations, unnecessary drama, you don't have the clarity to hear your own thoughts, let alone your purpose. But when you step away, when you embrace solitude, you begin to hear things differently. You begin to understand yourself at a deeper level. You begin to see what truly matters. Think about the most powerful transformations in nature. A caterpillar does not become a butterfly in a crowd. It goes into isolation, into the cocoon, where it undergoes a complete transformation. No one watches the process. No one sees the struggle, but when the time is right, the world witnesses the result. The same is true for you. Your growth will not happen in public view. It will happen in the quiet, unseen places of your life where you are doing the work that no one else can see. Isolation is not rejection, it's redirection. It is a divine separation that prepares you for what's next. If you are losing people, if you feel disconnected from the things that once made sense, don't fight it. Don't chase what is trying to leave. Some doors are closing because they are no longer meant for you. Some relationships are fading because they are not aligned with your destiny. Some opportunities are being blocked because they would only keep you stagnant. The higher you go, the less baggage you can carry. But here's what you must remember: this season of isolation is temporary. It is not meant to break you. It is meant to build you. It is meant to refine you, to shape you into the person you need to be for your next level. Because when the time comes for you to step into that new season, you will not be the same person you were before. You will be stronger, wiser, more focused. You will look back and realize that the solitude was necessary, that the distance was a gift, that the people who left made space for the people who were truly meant to walk with you. So don't fear isolation. Don't resist the process. Lean into it. Trust that the quiet season is doing more for you than any crowded room ever could. Because when you finally rise, when you finally step into the elevation you've been preparing for, you will understand why you had to walk alone for a while. And you will see that every step of separation was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. You said, there is a power in silence that many people overlook. In a world that constantly pressures you to prove yourself, to announce every move, to seek validation through words, there is something profoundly impactful about simply doing the work and letting your results speak for you. When you truly focus on your growth, on your purpose, and on your mission, you realize that you don't have to convince anyone of who you are becoming. Your progress will do that for you. Too often, we waste time trying to explain ourselves to people who were never meant to understand us. We argue, defend, and justify our decisions, hoping that someone will see our vision, believe in our potential, or recognize our worth. But the truth is, the people who doubt you are not waiting for an explanation. They are waiting for evidence. And evidence is not found in words, it is found in actions. It is found in consistency. It is found in discipline, in perseverance, in the undeniable proof that you are becoming exactly who you were meant to be. Think about the energy you have spent trying to make people believe in you. Think about the countless conversations where you tried to prove that you were serious about your dreams, that you were growing, that you were changing. Now imagine if all that energy had been redirected into your work, into your focus, into your discipline. Where would you be now? What could you have accomplished? The reality is, when you are consumed with proving yourself, you are distracted from actually improving yourself. True success does not require an announcement. The strongest foundations are built in silence. The greatest breakthroughs happen behind the scenes. The most successful people did not get there by talking about their dreams. They got there by putting in the work when no one was watching. They got there by showing up every single day, not for applause, not for validation, but because they were committed to their purpose. Let your results be the response. Let your progress be the proof. Instead of telling people what you are going to do, show them what you have done. Instead of arguing with those who doubt you, allow your achievements to speak louder than any words ever could. There is something undeniable about a person who moves with quiet confidence, who does not need to announce their greatness because it is evident in everything they do. This does not mean that the journey will be easy. It does not mean that you won't face resistance, setbacks, or moments of doubt. But when you choose to let your work speak for itself, you shift your focus from seeking approval to seeking excellence. And excellence is undeniable. People may question your words, but they cannot question the results that stand before them. They cannot deny the growth they see in you, the success that unfolds before their eyes, the transformation that becomes too obvious to ignore. So instead of seeking recognition, seek mastery. Instead of chasing validation, chase progress. Instead of trying to convince people, commit to your craft. The best revenge, the best response, the best way to silence the doubters is not through words, it is through undeniable results. When you walk into a room, let your presence carry the weight of your dedication. Let your work be so strong that it does not need an introduction. And here's the beautiful part: when you stop focusing on proving yourself, you gain the freedom to grow without limitations. You move at your own pace. You focus on what truly matters. You no longer worry about who is watching, who is clapping, or who is doubting. You become unstoppable because your focus is no longer external, it is internal. There will come a day when the same people who questioned you will have no choice but to acknowledge the evidence of your work. But by then, their recognition won't even matter to you because you will have already known your worth. You will have already proven to yourself that you were capable, that you were enough, that you never needed validation to begin with. So be patient, stay focused, keep working. And when the time is right, your results will say everything that words never could. There comes a time in your life when you have to make a choice. Do you want to be entertained by distractions? Or do you want to be elevated by discipline? Do you want to spend your energy caught up in drama, in meaningless conversations, in battles that don't move you forward? Or do you want to invest your energy into building the life you were meant to live? The people who succeed, the people who rise above, the people who create something extraordinary out of their lives are not the ones who spend their time engaging in unnecessary chaos. They are the ones who choose discipline over drama. Every single time. Drama is a thief. It robs you of your focus, your peace, and your progress. It will keep you busy, but it won't make you better. It will keep you distracted, but it won't help you grow. And the dangerous thing about drama is that it disguises itself as importance. It makes you feel like you have to respond, like you have to engage, like you have to prove something. But the truth is, most of the things that demand your attention are not worth your energy. Most of the people trying to pull you into their chaos are only doing so because they don't have the discipline to focus on their own growth. Discipline, on the other hand, requires sacrifice. It requires you to walk away from conversations that don't serve you. It requires you to say no to distractions that seem exciting in the moment but lead nowhere in the long run. It requires you to be intentional about where your time, energy, and attention go. And that's not always easy. It's not easy to ignore the drama when it's happening all around you. It's not easy to stay focused when people are trying to pull you into arguments, when negativity is knocking at your door, when the temptation to react is strong. But discipline teaches you to prioritize what truly matters. Your dreams require discipline. Your success requires discipline. Your peace requires discipline. You cannot build the life you want while simultaneously feeding into the distractions that are designed to keep you from it. You cannot focus on your goals while engaging in battles that have nothing to do with your destiny. At some point, you have to make a choice. Do you want to win or do you want to waste time? Because you cannot do both. The most successful people are not the ones who have the most talent, the most resources, or the most connections. They are the ones who have the discipline to say no to everything that does not align with their purpose. They are the ones who wake up every day and make a decision to stay focused, to stay committed, to stay locked in on their goals no matter what is happening around them. They don't get caught up in pettiness. They don't waste time trying to prove themselves to people who don't matter. They don't let distractions derail their progress. They understand that every minute spent on drama is a minute that could have been spent on building, on growing, on moving forward. There will always be people who try to pull you into their chaos. There will always be situations that test your patience, that try to get a reaction out of you, that tempt you to engage in nonsense. But when you are truly committed to your purpose, you learn how to walk away. You learn how to protect your energy. You learn how to let go of things that are beneath the level you are working to reach. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every invitation to drama needs to be accepted. And here's the truth: discipline is what will separate you from the rest. Because most people are easily distracted. Most people allow their emotions to dictate their actions. Most people get caught up in things that have nothing to do with their future. But when you choose discipline over drama, you position yourself for success. You position yourself to rise above. You position yourself to create a life that is built on purpose, not on petty distractions. So the next time you are faced with a choice, respond to the drama or stay focused on your goals. Remember what you are working for. Remember why you started. Remember that every moment of engagement with drama is a moment taken away from your elevation. Choose wisely, choose growth, choose discipline. Because at the end of the day, discipline is what will take you where drama never could. There will always be opinions. People will always have something to say about your life, your choices, your journey. Some will doubt you. Some will misunderstand you. Some will try to discourage you, not because they see failure in you, but because they cannot comprehend the vision you carry. But here's the truth: your purpose is bigger than their opinions. What you were created to do, the calling on your life, the destiny that is unfolding before you, is far greater than the voices trying to pull you away from it. You cannot afford to be distracted by the noise of people who were never assigned to your mission. You cannot afford to dim your light because someone else is uncomfortable with your shine. You cannot afford to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant to hold your full potential. If you live for the approval of others, you will die from their rejection. If you allow every opinion to take root in your mind, you will never have room to grow into who you are meant to be. Opinions are easy to give, but purpose is something that is deeply personal. No one else was given the vision you were given. No one else was placed on this earth to walk the path that you are called to walk. So why would you let someone who has no understanding of your journey dictate your direction? Why would you let their doubts weigh heavier than the calling that is stirring inside of you? The people who criticize you are not the ones doing the work. They are not the ones making the sacrifices, putting in the late nights, pushing through the challenges. They are not the ones who have to carry the burden of your dreams. It's easy to sit on the sidelines and judge, but it takes courage to step into purpose. And you were not created to be a spectator in your own life. You were created to build, to grow, to impact, to change the world in a way that only you can. At some point, you have to make a decision. Will you let their opinion stop you? Or will you keep moving forward? Will you waste your energy trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding you? Or will you pour that energy into fulfilling your purpose? Because no matter what you do, people will talk. If you play it safe, they will judge you for not dreaming big enough. If you take risks, they will judge you for thinking too highly of yourself. If you succeed, they will look for ways to downplay your achievements. If you fail, they will say, "I told you so." But through it all, you have to remind yourself, my purpose is bigger than their opinions. You do not need their approval. You do not need their validation. What you need is the discipline to stay focused, the faith to keep going, and the courage to trust that what is meant for you cannot be taken away by someone else's words. You need to believe that the work you are doing, the vision you are building, the impact you are creating is far more important than any criticism that comes your way. The greatest achievers in history were not the ones who had the loudest applause. They were the ones who refused to let criticism stop them. They were the ones who believed in something greater than what people could see. They were the ones who stayed committed to their purpose, even when the world doubted them. And now, the same names that people once dismissed are the names that inspire generations. You have that same power within you. The only question is, will you let their opinions define you, or will you keep pushing forward? Will you stay small to make them comfortable, or will you rise into everything you were created to be? The choice is yours, but remember this: your purpose is bigger than their opinions. Always.